Hi, and welcome to Three Questions with. Got my buddy Jack Wang with us from Longhorn Financial. Hey, Jack, welcome to the show.
Hey Kevin, thanks for having me on. I love doing these. I love these little short 3 question things. They're
Yeah,
perfect.
working out well. So, Jack, I want to talk a little bit about retirement now, and specifically retirement income. Some people think, oh, Kev, I'm 8 years away from retirement. I don't have to think about it. Shouldn't you be checking it as you go, especially if you're focused on retirement income to make sure you have enough?
Yeah, absolutely. It's always good to see if you're on track. And honestly, I've never met anyone who is truly on track, right? You can make $1 million, but if you want to retire with $1 million a year, you need to save a lot more than $1 million. So it's always good to kind of keep track and stay focused on the right things, right? So I think often people focus on the wrong things, like focusing on how big that nest egg is versus some of the right factors. So yeah, always good to check periodically. Not something you have to do every day, but periodically would be a good idea. Absolutely.
So, what are some of the common misconceptions people have when it comes to retirement then?
Yeah. So really, it's most people. If you listen to people talking, if they work, listen to the large investment firms of the world, it's what investment should I buy to make the most money, right? How can I make this? How can I get 10% instead of 8% instead of 6%, whatever. And while that's all well and good, and some people think about that way, it's really not the right way to think about it. Um, as someone famous, who I think everybody in the country knows, some guy by the name of Warren Buffett, right? He has these two rules about money. Rule number one, don't lose money. Rule number two, follow rule number one, right? So he doesn't really focus on how much he makes. It's actually, you actually get further ahead by avoiding losses. And so when I say avoiding losses, it doesn't mean like, oh, the stock market's down or the bond market's down or whatever the case may be. It's actually losses and costs due to things like taxes and if you have to take money out the wrong time and things like that. So it's not just, oh, well, my investments didn't go down, whatever percent, I'm okay. It's like, well, that's actually not quite true. There's other losses, quote unquote, out there.
But, Jack, isn't there always risk in investing?
There is, absolutely. And so, as with anything, right, everything has some sort of inherent risk, whether we directly see it or not. So what this really means for someone who's either close to retirement or far away from retirement, it really means that that person may have to save differently. You think about what's out there on the internet. What do we hear all the time? Saving your 401k, saving your 401k, saving your 401k. And I'm not here to say that that's a bad thing. It's not. But what I am saying is that there are other ways to save. And so, for example, you do want to maximize your Social Security. So remember, every dollar you can squeeze out of Social Security is one less dollar that you need out of the 401k. You want to be diversified for taxes in terms of how things are taxed when you take it out. You may also want to use other tools like life insurance or pensions or annuities or even a health savings account that some people have access to. Those are all great ways to save for retirement. And the reason you would want to do this besides just the 401k is because it gives you flexibility later, right? It gives you the ability to sort of to pick and choose where your money comes from. And having choices later really can mean a lot longer than if you didn't have any choices. So it again, get out of the mindset of just the 401k, 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 and nothing wrong with that. But for most people, it actually means you want to do a couple other things as well.
So, Jack, how can people reach out to you? How can they learn more?
Yeah, people can always email me at jack@longhornfin.com, or they can visit my Facebook page at facebook.com/longhornfin.
Jack, really appreciate taking time out of the day to jump on the show. And as always, thanks for being my friend.
Hey, thank you, Kevin.